Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's devotion for October 3rd. Today's devotion is titled Removing the Intruder. The Bible reading is from Ephesians chapter 5, verses 25 to 33. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. It wasn't quite dawn when my husband rose from bed and went into the kitchen. I saw the light flip on and off and wondered at his action. Then I recalled that the previous morning I'd yelped at the sight of an intruder on our kitchen counter. Translated, an undesirable creature of the six-legged variety. My husband knew my paranoia and immediately arrived to remove it. This morning, he'd risen early to ensure our kitchen was bug-free so I can enter without concern. What a guy! My husband awoke with me on his mind, putting my need before his own. To me, his action illustrates the love Paul describes in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Paul goes on, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. Paul's comparison of a husband's love to the love of Christ pivots on how Jesus put our needs before his own. My husband knows I'm afraid of certain intruders, and so he made my concern his priority. That principle doesn't apply to husbands only. After the example of Jesus, each of us can lovingly sacrifice to help remove an intruder of stress, fear, shame, or anxiety so that someone can move more freely in the world. What intruder might God be asking you to address to help another? How might you allow someone to help rid your life of certain intruders? Thank you for joining me for today's devotion, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.